It's only getting more bizarre. A mass stabbing on a train in the UK left 9 people in hospital. They warned us not to speculate. Then for 15 hours refused to give us any information about who was responsible or what their motive was, creating a complete vacuum prompting everyone to speculate. Until a 2-minute long press conference where they still didn't reveal the motive or their names. They told us the guy who rammed a car into people in Liverpool was a white British male within 2 hours. Yet it took 15 hours after this attack for them to tell us this.
First male, a 32-year-old male, a black British national, and a 35-year-old man, a British national of Caribbean descent.
Despite eyewitnesses revealing it almost immediately the night before.
As we come off the train, I asked what that suspect looked like. They said it's a black male in all black.
It's definitely not terrorism, though.
There is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident.
2 men boarding a train and simultaneously launching a stabbing frenzy against random people. I guess they both just had a simultaneous mental health episode. Just like the Southport attack wasn't terrorism, despite the Welsh choir boy possessing rioting and an Al-Qaeda training manual. It's truly bizarre after every single one of these incidents, when it's not a white man, is to put an immediate lockdown on information and threaten everyone not to talk about it.
The UK, Europe, and Germany, England thing seems so insane. Like, is there a plan involved in all this? Is this incompetence? Is this ignoring the fact that they don't have a handle on it, so they're trying to silence dissent? Like, what is happening?
What's happening is that the orcs are now in the Shires.
I talked to friends of mine in England, and I was like, hey, aren't you worried about this? They're like hobbits, frankly. So it's in fact, J.R.R. Tolkien based the hobbits on people he knew in small town England, the hobbits in the Shire. Since they have almost no exposure to the dangers of the world, they don't realize that they're there.
Their main priority is to righteously assert with barely concealed relish that they were born in Britain.
Both were born in the United Kingdom.
As if that somehow makes it okay. When all these atrocities were carried out by people born in Britain. After Southport, we were told that information about the suspects would be released quickly to avoid the spread of misinformation. An approach they only seem to follow when the suspect is a white British man.
The police seem to have backtracked because after the Southport stabbings, there was reports by Her Majesty's Inspector of Constabulary saying that the police had to fill the void. They couldn't let misinformation spread. And, you know, we see the Home Secretary saying, don't speculate. But after the horrible incident in Liverpool, where I was in your studio, within 2 hours, it seemed like the police had learned their lesson because they were saying that the suspect is a white British man. So we're now 11 hours after this incident. There's all sorts of descriptions being released. The police must have a very good idea who these suspects are. I think we've been let down by the Force Communications Department and the senior officers who should be releasing information so we know what's going on.
These trains are entirely covered by CCTV. Are we ever going to see that? Or only when the suspect is a white British man? The very next morning, the normalisation narrative was in full swing.
Whatever the nature of these incidents are, whatever the motivations, they are few and far between.
No, they're not. There's literally one every week now.
Devastating when they happen, but we've got to carry on.
Just carry on. Just accept it. No. Believe it or not, we once lived in a country where this didn't happen all the time. Now, not only does it happen all the time, the media's largely moved on from it within days.
And you can't let these people win. They won't win.
Yeah, burying your head in the sand, pretending this is infrequent and tolerable, is letting them win. Adolescence didn't work. Making it a bit harder to buy kitchen knives on Amazon didn't work. Maybe airport security at train stations will. Digital ID cards. Asking why our society suddenly seems full of savages who randomly attack people, well, you're not allowed to ask that question. Governments and central banks have been on a silver buying spree, skyrocketing the price to all-time highs. Earlier this month, Trump added silver to the US's 2025 critical minerals list, and the Pentagon has since been spending millions stockpiling. Defense, AI, and energy are essential for world power, and China, Russia, and the US are in a race to secure supply chains, and demand simply cannot keep up. 2025 is the 5th year in a row silver's been in a deficit, and the Silver Institute expects this to continue. We're witnessing the beginnings of a massive silver bull market, and that's why I've waited until now to highlight this sponsor, Dolly Varden Silver, ticker symbol DVS on the NYSE. This company could be a huge opportunity opportunity for investors. They have the asset, the Kitsault Valley Project, located in BC's Golden Triangle. This area is home to some of the largest mines in the world, and in the last 3 decades has discovered over 1.2 billion ounces of silver, worth over $68 billion. They have the leadership, which grew the company from $20 million to $520 million market cap. That wasn't even in a bull market, and smart money is following them. Both billionaire mining investors Eric Sprott and Rick Rule are shareholders. Dolly Varden has all the tools to succeed in this silver bull market, and with this recent pullback in the silver price, they're relatively cheap, and that's why it could be my #1 silver stock right now. This video is disseminated on behalf of our sponsor, Dolly Varden Silver. Ticker symbol DVS on the NYSE. To learn more and invest, click the link down below.
There was a girl, bless her, who was really in a bit of state because the guy had actually tried to stab her, and one of the older guys, who's an absolute hero, blocked it with his head, and he's got this like gash. He had this gash on his head. He's got I think a gash on his neck, and he's kind of giving him like a jackets to keep the pressure on the blood. And while we're doing that, there's a person that I know, and he's kind of looked at me and gone like, "Have you got anything we can use in case he comes through?"
There's at least 10 ambulances, 12 ambulances.
We had a Jack Daniels bottle between us, and that was it. So we're kind of sitting there with one Jack Daniels bottle, just looking down the end of this.
The reaction from shitlibs went precisely to script, that being seen as racist was worse than stopping people being killed. 10 people being stabbed on a train, and all they can think of is spreading their hatred and racism minutes after people have been taken to hospital in critical conditions. The only reason this country has gone to shit is people like you. Oh, really? I thought the reason the country had gone to shit is because there's people on trains carrying out mass stabbing attacks. No, apparently the country's gone to shit because there are people who ask why there are savages on trains carrying out mass stabbing attacks. Huntingdon shows the problem we have in the UK, the racist hatred of so many people who are desperate to use any crime or any possible crime to smear and spread hate for anyone who isn't the right type of person. And there I was thinking the problem we have here in the UK is innocent people being stabbed to death all the time. For all you racist twats making accusations about Huntingdon without knowing the facts, where were you when a white man murdered 2 little girls in Soham just down the road? Not a word then, was there? Oh, you mean an incident that happened, checks notes, 23 years ago, was widely condemned and occurred 4 years before Twitter even existed. It was just a fight on a train, happens all the time. Stop fear-mongering. Pretty ironic that a measure that would reduce these kind of attacks, stop and search, is constantly opposed by the left because it's racist, when in reality it's just accurate profiling.
I think we've got to ask ourselves why we are in this situation where almost on a weekly basis it feels like people are being traumatized in this country by the fact that we have appalling knife crime. I think let's start with that, rather than starting with the idea of inconveniencing millions of law-abiding citizens. Why don't we implement stop and search? Something that all of the preponderant academic research, cross-culturally, all over the world shows if you do stop and search to saturation, deadly weapons of every sort get removed from circulation. Let's start with that, and that is how we keep British people safe.
And I hate to do the if the races were reversed cliche, but if the races were reversed, do you think the left wouldn't be furiously asserting that this was a hate crime?
One of our correspondents has got in touch, Marion, County Down, who says the ethnicity of the perpetrators is important to know, who was being targeted and why.
My grok, has there ever been an event where white British nationals went on a mass stabbing spree? Nope. They'll tolerate any level of barbarism to protect the sacred myth that diversity is our greatest strength. But many are noticing, including some that were on that train last night, that it didn't used to be like this.
I watched that carriage doorway waiting to see a figure appear. I knew he had a knife from everyone's wounds, but from somebody's previous comments, there was a chance he had a gun. So I stood there praying. We all tried to keep calm, but you could feel everyone's adrenaline. I mean, it's incredible stuff to hear from an eyewitness himself. He's posted this on the social media platform X to get his story out there. He said the train eventually stopped, and I thank God I didn't see anybody come through that doorway. Everyone ran out of the train at Huntingdon, and as I ran out, I looked to my right, knowing that's where the attacker would come. And that's when I saw about 20 people running in pure panic, at least 3 of which were covered in blood. One guy was holding his stomach, of which blood was pouring out, shouting, "Help, help." I've been stabbed. He goes on to say, we all ran together, being completely unarmed against an attacker or attackers that we thought had a gun. You really did feel helpless, knowing they're willing to strike a woman and I think children. It wasn't the England I grew up in, it was barbaric.
To illustrate how much UK society has changed, compare what's happened over just the last few weeks, stabbing after stabbing, rape after rape, one horror after another, to the key news events of the entirety of October 1995, the highlights of which were things like Oasis releasing a new album, Vauxhall unveiling a new line of hatchbacks, and Cliff Richard getting a knighthood. That's the country I grew up in. A country where violent atrocities weren't so commonplace as to be an almost daily occurrence. A country where you could walk your dog, go to a pop concert, visit a Christmas market, go to the bank, pick your kids up from a dance class or take a train without the constant background hum of anxiety and the need for constant vigilance pervading your every public movement. We don't live in the same country now. This isn't broken Britain. It's simply not Britain anymore. If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit pauljosephwatson.locals.com and either pledge a one-time donation or subscribe to join my community, get early access videos and message me directly. And exclusive live streams coming soon too. Promise. Check out the Locals link down in the description. And don't forget to take a look at the brand new website modernity.news. That's where you'll find all my content, including exclusive articles. That's modernity.news.